One day I met a man named Mark. He was Alex's friend. He had kind eyes and a soft voice. He asked why I didn't go home. I told him about Alex. He listened and said, "Your baby deserves more than this. You deserve more than this. Come with me. You can live with my family." I thought about Max. I wanted to say yes, but I was scared to leave my baby unprotected. Mark stayed with us for a few weeks. He tried talking to Alex, but it didn't help, so Mark convinced me to go to his house. His wife was nice. They gave me a room and food. Soon I was living there. Every day I asked Mark if he could find Alex and tell him to stop drinking. Mark promised me he would try. But after a few months he stopped answering my calls. I called Alex. He answered. I asked where Mark was. He said, "What do I know? He's not here." I hung up the phone. Something inside me broke. I cried for a long time. And then I knew I had to get stronger. I was tired of being scared, tired of crying, tired of hiding. I decided to go back home. I went to Robert's house. He was surprised to see me. He asked why I didn't call. I said, "It doesn't matter anymore." I went upstairs and looked in Mom's room. Everything was still there. Her clothes, her shoes, her jewelry. I opened the window and saw the street below. Suddenly, memories came back. I remembered how happy Mom was. How she laughed and danced and played with me. Tears fell from my eyes. I was so young when I lost her. I had never grieved. One by one, all the bad memories came up. Robert screaming, Alex hitting me, my childhood falling apart. All the pain I had hidden for many years finally came out. I cried, I screamed, I hated myself for being weak. But when the sun rose, I felt lighter. Now I understood what had happened to me. I was not weak. I was just scared. Now I was mad. I was mad at Robert, at Alex, at myself. I was mad that they had taken my childhood. I was mad that they had made me forget who I was. But most of all, I was mad at God. I was mad that He had let me suffer. I had spent many years trying to fix other people, trying to make them happy, but I forgot about myself. I'd forgotten that I was a human too. I left the house and went to the city center. I was going to find Mark and tell him I was leaving. On the way, I saw a sign. It said, "Help for women in need." I stopped. I thought maybe they could help me. I entered the building and sat down with a lady. I told her about Robert and Alex. She listened and said, "Lily, you are strong. It's not your fault. Many women go through the same thing." Then she told me I could get money, rent a house, and start a new life. She said I could get justice for what happened. To me, I didn't know what to say. I was shocked. I had never heard these words before. It was like a miracle. With her help, I could leave my past behind. I could get justice for myself. I could get justice for Max. I signed papers, got money, and found a small house in the city. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I called the police and told them what Alex had done to me. They arrested him. One day in court he said, "I'm sorry, but I just shook my head. Saying sorry didn't bring back my childhood. Saying sorry didn't heal my wounds. I had to be strong. I had to move on." Years passed. I got a good job. I found a new boyfriend. He was kind and loved my son. I never married. I was still waiting for the right man. But even without a husband, I was happy. I had a beautiful boy. I had good friends. I had a house. I had a car. I had freedom. I was no longer scared, no longer weak. I was just Lily. One Saturday, I visited my son in the orphanage. I held him in my arms and sang him songs. He was so cute. He had my eyes and my smile. When he grew up, he would be strong, smart, and brave. I promised myself to give him the best life possible. I promised myself to love him more than anything. 3 years later, I saw a boy at the supermarket. He reminded me of Max. I approached him and asked, "Can I talk to you for a second?" He looked at me and said, "Do I know you?" "I don't know. Maybe we were neighbors or classmates. I can't remember. But I think you might know me." He thought for a moment. "Wait, are you Lily? Are you my sister?" "Yes, it's me. Is it really you?" We hugged for a long time. I couldn't believe it. Max was grown up. He was tall and handsome. He had my father's eyes and hair. We left the supermarket together and went for a walk in the park. We talked about our childhood, about mother, about father, about the years we had lost. I told him how Robert had treated me and how Alex had hurt me. Max was mad too. He hated Alex for taking away our childhood and our mother. He promised to support me, to be by my side. And I knew he would keep his promise. That day I realized I was not alone. I had a brother who loved me, a son who needed me, and a life worth fighting for. Dear audience, welcome to my channel. If you're watching this video, it means you have found peace. Your story is over. Your pain has ended. Your scars have healed. Remember, you are a survivor. You've been through hell and come back stronger. Don't waste this gift. Use it. Let it grow. Let it become your superpower. Let it define who you are. You are unique because of what you have been through. Embrace it. Make it part of your identity. Let it be the fuel that drives you forward. Now go out into the world and show them who you are. Show them how strong you are. Show them how beautiful you are. Don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't be afraid to love. Don't be afraid to dream. Don't be afraid to hope. Don't be afraid to live. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You are enough. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. To help. One night he hit me so hard I could not stand. I lay on the floor holding my belly. I was scared for my baby. The next day I went to the local clinic. The nurse looked at me and said, "You need help." She gave me a card with the name of a women's shelter. That night while Alex was asleep, I packed a small bag and left. The shelter was in another town. It was a quiet place with 10 other women. Some had children, some had black eyes. Some had broken hearts, but they were all like me, looking for peace. I stayed at the shelter until my baby was born. A little boy, I named him Liam. He had my eyes and dark hair. I held him and cried. I whispered, "I will never let anyone hurt you." Life was not easy, but I worked hard. The shelter helped me find a job at a bakery. I made bread in the morning and came back to feed Liam in the evening. I lived in a small room with one bed, one table, and 2 chairs. It was simple, but it was mine. For a while, I felt strong. I smiled more. I took Liam to the park. I read books at night. I didn't think about Alex or Robert. I tried to forget the past, but then one day Alex found me. I was walking home from the bakery. I heard a voice behind me. "Lily," I turned, my heart stopped. It was him. He looked tired. His clothes were dirty. He smelled like alcohol. He smiled and said, "I missed you." I didn't speak. I didn't move. He said, "I changed. I don't drink anymore." "I want to see my son." I said no. He grabbed my arm. "Please, just once." I pulled away and ran. That night I couldn't sleep. I held Liam close. I locked the door. I cried in silence. I was afraid again. I went to the police the next day. I told them everything. They said they would help, but I still felt scared. Since that day, I live with fear again. I look over my shoulder. I check the doors twice. I don't let Liam out of my sight. I don't know if Alex will come back. I don't know if he will try to take my baby. I want to be free. I want to feel safe again, but I don't know how. I still go to work. I still smile for Liam. But inside, I feel broken. Some nights I cry when he sleeps. I whisper, "I'm sorry. I wish I was stronger." I'm scared, but I will protect him. I don't know what the future will bring, but I hold on to one hope that one day I will not be afraid anymore. Some days I feel strong. Other days I feel like I'm falling apart. I try to be a good mother. Every morning I make breakfast for Liam. He loves toast with honey. He laughs when I make funny faces with his food. His smile gives me hope, but inside I am still scared. I always check the windows. I always look behind me when I walk home. I moved to a new room in the shelter, but I don't feel safe. I still hear Alex's voice in my head. I see his face in my dreams. I wake up with my heart beating fast. One day, the shelter manager asked me, "Lily, do you want to see a counselor?" I said no at first. I didn't want to talk about the past. I thought talking would make the pain stronger. But a week later, I said yes. Her name was Julia. She had kind eyes and a soft voice. She asked me about my life. I told her everything. From my father to Robert to Alex, she didn't cry. She didn't look shocked. She just listened. She said, "You are brave, Lily. You survived. You are still here." No one ever said that to me before. We met every week. I started to feel lighter. Like I was not alone. I learned that it was not my fault. I learned that love is not pain. I learned that I deserve peace. Liam turned 2 years old. He was walking and talking. He called me mama and kissed my cheek every night. He loved to sing. He danced in circles when I played music. He made the world bright again. One afternoon, I was working in the bakery when a customer walked in. He was tall with dark hair and kind eyes. He ordered coffee and smiled. The next day, he came again. And again, after a week, he said, "Hi, my name is Daniel." I said, "I'm Lily." He smiled. "I like your smile." I looked down. I wasn't used to compliments. I didn't know what to say. He didn't push. He didn't ask questions. He just came in every day, bought coffee, and talked to me about small things, books, rain, songs on the radio. One day he asked, "Can I walk you home?" I froze. My heart said, no. My fear said run. But maybe it was Julia who taught me to be brave because I said, sure. We walked past the bakery. It was a new street for me. I saw parks and playgrounds. I saw families and couples. I saw life. It was nice. Daniel didn't talk much. He pointed to his store and said, "Look, there are birds." He showed me flowers and said, "Do you like yellow roses?" He talked slowly and softly. When we stopped in front of my building, I thanked him. He said, "Thank you for today." I wanted to say more, but I was shy. Before I could speak, he added, "If you want, I can walk you home tomorrow." I smiled. For the first time in a long time, I felt normal. I nodded. He smiled. It was a beautiful smile. I waved as he walked away. And then I turned to go inside. But that was when I heard screams. "Help me! Help me!" It was a woman's voice. I froze. It sounded scared. It sounded desperate. It sounded like me. I turned to look for Daniel, but he was gone. I was alone. I stood there frozen, not knowing what to do. Then the screams came again. "Help me, please help me." This time I knew I had to act. I didn't know who needed help. Maybe it was just another nightmare, but I had to check. I started to walk towards the screams. Each step was hard. Each breath was loud. My heart beat fast. I could feel it in my throat. The screams grew louder. "Help me, please help me." Then I saw him, Alex. He stood in the middle of the street. He was wild. He was shouting. He was hurting himself. He looked up and saw me, his eyes filled with tears. He screamed my name. "Lily, help me, I don't want this anymore." And as he screamed, something inside me broke. Years ago, I found myself in a situation I never imagined I'd be in. Trapped in an abusive relationship with a man named Max, I felt like I was living in a nightmare. My spirit was crushed. Every day brought new challenges, new fears. But eventually, driven by desperation, I made a choice to flee, leaving behind everything familiar to protect myself and my unborn child. Starting over was daunting, to say the least. Alone and heavily pregnant, I reached out to a friend for help, who sadly couldn't take me in. She suggested I contact an organization that aids women escaping domestic violence. They offered me shelter and support, providing a roof over my head and a helping hand during those difficult times. In the midst of all this, I gave birth to my son, Liam. As I cradled him in my arms, a profound sense of responsibility washed over me. I vowed to shield him from the darkness I had endured, promising myself that I would do anything to ensure he grew up in a world filled with light and laughter. One evening while preparing dinner in the shelter's communal kitchen, I met Daniel, a volunteer. His kindness and compassion were evident, setting him apart from the rest. I noticed how gently he treated the other residents, especially me and my son. He understood our unique challenges, offering a listening ear and a comforting presence whenever we needed it. Then one day, something remarkable happened. The director of the shelter approached me with an opportunity. She proposed that I can move into a private apartment with Liam, allowing us more space and privacy. While I was hesitant at first, she reassured me, saying it was crucial for me to regain my independence and prepare for a life outside the shelter. Of course, I accepted her offer. And thus began a new chapter in our lives. My apprehension quickly faded away. The apartment, although modest, felt like a sanctuary. It was just enough for us, filled with the sound of Liam's laughter and the warmth of Daniel's friendship. But as weeks turned into months, I couldn't shake off this persistent feeling that something was missing. There was a void in my heart that ached for attention. Longing for a deeper connection, I decided to open up to Daniel about my feelings, confessing that I missed having a man by my side, someone to lean on and share my life with. Daniel responded with kindness, assuring me that he wouldn't force anything on me. "Take your time," he said. "There's no rush." I appreciated his understanding. Then one day, while sitting on the porch swing with Liam, something deep inside me said, "Maybe it's okay," I said. "Just to the corner." He walked beside me, not too close, not too far. He said, "You're strong." "I don't know your story, but I see it in your eyes." I smiled. "Thank you." For the first time in years, I felt warm. Over time, Daniel became a part of my life, slowly, carefully. He brought books for Liam. He helped me carry groceries. He never touched me without asking. He never raised his voice. He said, "Love is not control. Love is safety." I didn't believe in love before, but I thought maybe it can be real. Still, I was afraid. One night, Daniel invited me and Liam to a small park for a picnic. We sat on a blanket. The sun was soft, the sky pink. Liam laughed and chased butterflies. Daniel looked at me and said, "You don't have to be scared anymore, and not him." I wanted to believe him. I wanted to trust, but it's hard when your heart has so many scars. That night, I had a dream. I saw myself as a little girl holding Max's hand. We were standing in the dark, looking for light. Then I saw Liam smiling. Holding a candle, I woke up crying. The next day, I called Max. We hadn't spoken in years. He was now 21 and working in another city. When he answered the phone, I couldn't speak. I just cried. He said, "Lily, is that you?" I said, "I'm sorry, I left you. I should have come back." He said, "You did what you had to do. I missed you." We talked for an hour. He told me he was okay. He forgave me. He said, "I always knew you loved me. You saved me by saving yourself." I hung up and felt peace for the first time in a long time. Weeks passed. Daniel was still kind. Liam was growing fast. I started to feel strong again. Then one day I got a letter. It was from Alex. He wrote, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. I want to see my son." I didn't reply. I showed the letter to the shelter staff. They said they would help me talk to a lawyer. I was afraid again. But I didn't cry. I looked at Liam and said, "I will protect you." I kept the letter in a box. I did not tell Daniel, but Daniel saw my face. He asked, "Are you okay?" I said no, but I will be. That night, I looked at myself in the mirror. I saw someone I didn't recognize, not a victim, not a girl who ran away. I saw a woman the next morning. I spoke to a lawyer. I asked about my rights. I told them everything. They said I could ask for full custody. They said I had a strong case. I felt nervous, but also proud. I told Daniel everything that night about the letter, about Alex, about my fear. He held my hand and said, "Whatever happens, I'm here." I believed him. 1 month later, I stood in a small courtroom. Alex didn't come. His lawyer did. They asked questions. I answered with a strong voice. I had papers, photos, proof. The judge listened. After 2 hours, the judge said, "Full custody goes to Lily." I cried. Not from sadness, but from relief. When I came home, Liam ran to me. I picked him up and said, "We're safe now." That night, I burned the letter. Days turned into months. I moved out of the shelter into a small apartment. It had 2 rooms and a tiny kitchen, but it was ours. I painted the walls yellow. I put flowers by the window. I started to feel like I had a real home. Daniel came to visit often. He never rushed me. He said, "I'll wait until you're ready." One evening, we sat on the porch. Liam was sleeping. The stars were bright. Daniel said, "Lily, I love you. Not because of your past, but because of who you are now." I cried, not from fear, from love. I said, "I love you too." It wasn't a fairy tale. Life was still hard. I worked 2 jobs. I had nightmares sometimes. I still checked the locks every night. But I wasn't afraid anymore. I started writing my story. I wanted to help other women. I wanted to say you are not alone. You are strong. You can survive. I gave talks at the shelter. I held hands with women who cried like I once did. I said, "There is hope. Look at me." I didn't forget the past, but I didn't live in it anymore. Now I live for today. I live for Liam's laugh, for fresh bread in the morning, for sunsets with Daniel, for quiet nights and warm blankets. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon. Until then, take care.